Daf Yomi Tractate, Sanhedrin, page 81b. Daf Pei Aleph, Amud Beis, on the top of the page. With the words Amar Le. Rava said to him, Ada Bari Bisrei Katali Katalale. Rava said to him, Ada, my son, will you kill him with 2 death penalties? Rabbi Yossi concedes that the prohibition of engaging in intercourse with a married woman takes effect in addition to the prohibition of engaging in intercourse with his mother-in-law. If he had violated the transgression unwittingly, he would have been liable to bring 2 sin offerings. But if he violated the transgression intentionally, it is possible to execute him by strangulation after executing him by burning. Excuse me. New Mishnah. Mi shelaka v'shana Beis Din machnisi noisoi lekibo umachil noisoi seoirin ad shekeresoi mitbakas. One who was flogged for violating a prohibition and then repeated the violation and was flogged again assumes the status of a forewarned transgressor. The court places him into the vaulted chamber and feeds him barley bread until his belly ruptures due to the low-quality food, and he dies. Okay, just a disclaimer, as I often make, the content that I'm reading is purely content that I'm reading. It is only reading, it doesn't reflect my own opinions on the matter, and it might be that it's not even the halacha anyway, but I want to make that disclaimer. This is a good example of that, where I don't think that they would do that today. Someone was whipped, and then they whipped him again, and then the case chayav misa. But anyway, that's what it says here. The Gemara says, Mishum delaka v'shana based in the kointonos of the kippah. It looks like I preempted the Gemara's question, because the Gemara asked that very thing, because due to the fact that he was flogged and repeated the violation, as the court placed him into the vaulted chamber for the duration of his life and advance his death? The Gemara asked that question. Amar Rabbi Yirmiyah, Amar Rabbi Shimon ben Lakish, Hacha b'malkios shel kreisis askinan. The Gavra bar Katalahu. The Kuruvehu, the Lo Mikadu Katale. The Kavan, the Kamivater Lana Nafshe Mikadavin Le Katala Avi Ailave. Due to the fact that he was flogged and repeated the violation. Oh, right. Is that we were asking? Is that worthy of death? So Rabbi Yirmiyah says that Rabbi Shimon ben Lakish says here we are dealing with lashes administered for violations of prohibitions, punishable by excision from the world to come. As when one violates such a prohibition, the man is essentially liable to be punished with death at the hand of heaven. But his death is not advanced by the court as it's administered by the heavenly court. In this case, since he surrenders his life through his repeated transgressions, we advance his execution upon him by placing him in the vaulted chamber. Amar le Rabbi Yaakov Rabbi Yirmiyah bar Tachlifa. Excuse me. Ta asbara Allah b'malkio shel kares achas aval shel shtayim v'shel shalosh kresois isurehu dikataim v'lo mevata kulihai. Rabbi Yaakov said to Rabbi Yirmiyah bar Tachlifa. I wonder if it's the same Rabbi Yirmiyah, because we had Rabbi Yirmiyah said in the name of Rabbi Shimon Lakish, and now we have Yaakov in the name of Rabbi Yaakov said in the name of Rabbi Yirmiyah bar Tachlifa. I wonder. Anyway. But if he received lashes for violating 2. Okay, it is in a case where he flogged with lashes for repeatedly violating one prohibition punishable with karet, that he is considered to have surrendered his life. But if he received lashes for violating 2 or for violating 3 different prohibitions punishable with kared, he is not placed in the vaulted chamber, as he is merely tasting the taste of prohibition and wants to enjoy different experiences. And he is not thereby surrendering his life to that extent. Okay. Mish Lagav Shana Aval Gav the Shilesh Lema Masdisen de Karavishim Bangamriel. Dear Bishim Bangamriel, Amar Ad Selas Zimene, Loyavika Chazoke. The Mishnah teaches one who is flogged for violating a prohibition and then repeated the violation, the court places him into the vaulted chamber. The Gemara infers he is placed in the vaulted chamber if he repeated the violation, doing it a second time, even if he did not again repeat the violation, doing it a third time. Let us say that the Mishnah is not in accordance with the opinion of Rabban Shimon ben Gamliel, as if it is in accordance with the opinion of Rabban Shimon ben Gamliel, doesn't he say presumptive status is not established until the action is performed 3 times? In his opinion, only after violating the prohibition 3 times would one assume the status of a forewarned transgressor. Ravina rejects the proof and says, even if you say that the Mishnah is in accordance with the opinion of Rabban Shimon ben Gamliel, the Tana holds that transgressions, not lashes, establish the presumptive status of a transgressor. Therefore, the Mishnah that teaches one who was flogged for violating the prohibition and then repeated the violation and was flogged is placed in the vaulted chamber only after he violated the prohibition a third time, is in accordance with the opinion of Rabban Shimon ben Gamliel. Meisvei. The Gemara asks a question, raises an objection, which is a question. Avar avera sheyesh bo malakos, pa'am rishoina v'shniya malkinoisoi, u'shlishis koinzinoisoi lekipo. Aber Shaul omer, af b'shlishis malkinoisoi. But if he is koinzinoisoi lekipo, my love, to kuli alman malkios machzikois, u'beplukta Rabbi Shimon ben Gamliel chumifligi. U'beplukta the Rabbi Shimon Kamifligi, the Gemara raised an objection from Brisa. If one performed a transgression that has lashes as his punishment, the first and the second time the court flogs him, and the third time the court places him in the vaulted chamber. Abba Shaul says, even the third time the court flogs him, and the fourth time the court places him in the vaulted chamber. What, is it not that everyone agrees that lashes establish the presumptive status of a transgressor, and it is concerning the dispute of Rabbi Yehuda Hanasi and Rabbi Shimon Gamliel whether presumptive status is established after 2 or 3 times, that the rabbis and Abba Shaul disagree? No. The Gemara rejects that parallel. No. Tekuli alma islahu Rabbi Shimon ben Gamliel. Yahva kama inflingi de mausa ves machzikois u'machsava mankiois machzikois. No, it can be explained that everyone, the rabbis and Abba Shaul, agree with the opinion of Rabbi Shimon ben Gamliel that presumptive status is established after 3 times. And here, it is with regard to this matter that they disagree. One sage, meaning the rabbis, holds that transgressions establish the presumptive status of a transgressor, and after he is flogged twice and performs the transgression a third time, the court places him in the vaulted chamber. And one sage, Abba Shaul, holds lashes establish the presumptive status of a transgressor, and it is only after he performs the third transgression and is flogged for that transgression that he assumes the status of a forewarned transgressor, and when he performs this transgression for a time, he is placed in the vaulted chamber. V'atanya, the Gemara questions that interpretation of the dispute. V'atanya, we learned in the Braise, hu triboi v'shosak, hu triboi v'hirki noishoi. Pam rishoina v'shniya masrin boi, shlishis koinzen oisoi lekibam. Abba Shaul omer, af v'shlishis masrin oisoi, v'revi'is koinzen oisoi lekibam. Gemara questions that interpretation of the dispute. That which is taught in Brisa with regard to a case where witnesses forewarned him that he was about to violate a prohibition, punishable by lashes, and he was silent. and did not acknowledge that he accepted the forewarning, and likewise, a case where the witnesses forewarned him and he bowed his head, but did not explicitly acknowledge that he accepted the forewarning. The first and second time they forewarn him, the court does not flog him because he did not accept the forewarning. If this scenario occurs the third time, the court places him in the vaulted chamber. Abba Shaul says even the third time the witnesses forewarn him, the court does not flog him, and the fourth time the court places him in the vaulted chamber. V'hasam b'malkus, hasam malkus lekam b'maika b'flagim, amar Rabina b'kipa tzarich hasro. Excuse me for 1 second, or a few seconds maybe. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 seconds. V'hasam malkus lekam b'maika b'flagim, amar Rabina b'kipa tzarich hasro b'flagim. And there, in the case of the Braita, there are no lashes, as he did not explicitly acknowledge acceptance of the forewarning. The reference is to a case where one violated the transgression several times, and if their dispute is not with regard to the number, of times required to establish presumptive status, with regard to what matter do they disagree? Ravina says it is with regard to whether placing an individual into a vaulted chamber requires forewarning that they disagree. The rabbis hold that once he disregarded the following 3 times, the court places him in a vaulted chamber. Abba Shaul holds that after he is forewarned 3 times, that he will be flogged if he performs the transgression. He requires additional forewarning before the 4th time, that he will be placed in a vaulted chamber if he performs the transgression again. Umay kipa Amar Yehuda maloi kamaso v'hechar mizam Amar Reish Lakish timotet rashara. The Gemara clarifies, and what is the nature of this vaulted chamber? Rav Yehuda says it is a small chamber that is the full height of the transgressor. Whoa, that's horrible. And it does not allow him to move in it. That's horrible torture. That's bad. The Gemara asks, and where is this punishment intimated? Meaning, how do you get to this punishment? Reish Lakish said that it is intimated in the verse, evil shall kill the wicked. Psalms 34:22. Ultimately, an evildoer finds his demise through his evil, and the result is this harsh form of death. Amar Reish Lakish ma'ilichsiv higam lo yada adam es itoy kadagim shnei echazim b'mitzudara. My mitzudara. Amar Reish Lakish chaka. The Gemara cites a related statement, and Reish Lakish says, what is the meaning of that which is written? For man also knows not his time, like fish snared in an evil net. Ecclesiastes 9:12, Kohelet 9:12. What is the nature of this evil net? Reish Lakish says it is a hook. Although it is small and the fish is much larger, the fish cannot escape it. Wow. Okay, new Mishnah. The Mishnah says, "Ahoyreg nefesh loy be'edim, machnisin ois lekiba machin ois lechem tzar omayim lachatz." The Mishnah says, with regard to one who kills a person not in the presence of witnesses, and is impossible to judge him in court, the court places him into a vaulted chamber and feeds him sparing bread and scant water. See Isaiah 30:20. Okay, that's the Mishnah. Gemara. The Gemara says, "B'nai yadinan, amarav be'edus miuchedes u'shmuel amar sheloi be'asra." The Gemara asks, if there are no witnesses, from whence do we know that he killed a person and is liable to be punished? Rav says, the Tana of the Mishnah speaking about a case of disjointed testimony where the witnesses were not together and they witnessed the murder from different vantage points. The court cannot convict a person for committing a murder based on that type of testimony, even though it is clear that the witnesses are telling the truth. And Shmuel says, the Tana of the Mishnah is speaking about a case where the witnesses testified that they witnessed the murder, but there was no forewarning, and therefore the court cannot convict him. Rav Chizda Omer Avimi Kegoin Itachchush Bivdikot velo Itachush Bivchakiroth Keditnan Maseh Ubadak Ben Zakai Beukzeteinim Umachil Inosei Lechem Tsar Umayim Lachatz. Rav Chizda says that Avimi says, the Tana of the Mishnah is speaking of a case. And Rav Chizda says that Avimi says that the Tana of the Mishnah is speaking of a case where the witnesses contradicted each other in the examinations that involved matters peripheral to the murder, but did not contradict each other in the interrogations, which are the integral to the murder, meaning the time and place. Therefore, it is clear to the court that the accused is guilty, and consequently they placed him in the vaulted chamber. As we learned in the Mishnah 48, there was an incident, and Ben Zakkai examined the witnesses with regard to the stems of figs on the fig tree beneath which the murder took place. Rabbi Yochanan ben Zakkai questioned the witnesses about the thickness of the stems in order to determine whether they would contradict each other in this peripheral detail in order to save the accused. See 41a. Umachilin oisoi lechem tzar umayim lachatz. Ma'ishno hacha diktoni noisin lo lechem tzar umayim lachatz. Ma'ishno hosam diktoni machilin oisoi soiren ad shekreisoi mitbakaas. Rav Sheishes idvidi noisin lo tzar lechem tzar umayim lachas ad sheyuktan miyano v'hadar machinan oto soiren ad shekreis mitbakas. The Mishnah teaches and feeds him sparing bread and scant water. The Gemara asks, what is different in the Mishnah here that the Tana teaches that the court gives him sparing bread and scant water in the vaulted chamber, and what is different in the previous Mishnah there that the Tana teaches that the court feeds him barley bread until his belly ruptures? Like, why are we switching it up? Are these two different punishments? Shesha says, no. Both this and that are one punishment. First, the court gives him sparing bread and scant water until his intestines contract due to his starvation diet. And then the court feeds him barley bread that expands his innards until his belly explodes. Yikes. Das ist nicht eine gute Sache. It means in Yiddish it's not a good thing. The Mishnah says, Agoyin is akazvo yamekal v'koisim v'haboy laramis kanoin poigin boy. Koin shishimish betumo einecha v'koinam mevino yisoy lebezdin ela pirchei kuhuna motziin oto chutz azara umatziin et mocho begezerin. Begezerin. That's harsh. Zar shishimish b'migdash Rabbi Kiva Omer bechenek v'chachamim omrim b'idei shemayim. Okay, get ready for this one. This is really another harsh zach. With regard to one who steals a kasva and one who curses with a sorcerer and one who engages in intercourse with an Aramean woman, zealots strike him and kill him. Although the Torah does not say that one who performs one of these actions is liable to be executed, it is permitted for anyone who zealously takes the vengeance of the Lord to do so. In the case of a priest who performed a temple service in a state of ritual impurity, his priestly brethren do not bring him to court for judgment. Rather, the young men, this is harsh, rather the young men of the priesthood remove him from the temple courtyard and pierce his skull with pieces of wood. In the case of a non-priest who performs the service in the temple, Rabbi Akiva says his execution is by strangulation. And the rabbis say he's not executed with a court-imposed death penalty, rather he is liable to receive death at the hand of heaven. Okay, that's the Mishnah. The Gemara says, "My kasva amar Yehuda klishares." Okay, no, I'm now. Es kasha es hanasach. Vehechamiza. V'lo yavoi lerois kival as a kodesh meisug. The Gemara asks, what is the kasa mentioned in this Mishnah? Yehuda says is a term used to describe any service vessel used in the temple, and likewise, it is stated in the jars with which to pour libations. Numbers 4:7. The Gemara asks, where is it intimated that one who steals a service vessel is liable to be killed by zealots? The Gemara answers that it is intimated in the verse, "But they shall not come to see the sacred items as they are being covered, lest they die." Numbers 4:20. The Gemara interprets the term kavala as one who ingests, meaning one who takes. See Job 20:15. And the verse thereby teaches that one who steals a service vessel is liable to be killed. The Makala b'koisim, Tana Rav Yosef Yake koisim es koismoi, Rabbanon v'item arova ba'mori, Amri Yakeyu koisim loi, Ulekoinoi ulemaknoi. The Gemara teaches that one who curses with a sorcerer is among those liable to be killed by zealots. Rav Yosef teaches that the reference is to one who says, "Let the sorcerer strike his sorcerer," meaning one who curses God in the name of idol worship. He does not explicitly say God's name, but he believes that a sorcerer can curse the sorcerer who provided him with his powers, meaning the divine presence. The rabbis say that it was Rabbah, son of Mari, say. The rabbis, and some say that it was Rabbah, son of Mari, say that the reference is to one who says, "Let the sorcerer strike him," meaning the individual with whom he is quarreling and his creator and his provider. Since he curses God, it is permitted for zealots to kill him. The Mishnah teaches that one who engages in intercourse with an Aramean woman is among those liable to be killed by the zealots. Rav Kahana asked of Rav,